Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle, just in case you didn't know, now you do know. And today we are covering the things I wish I knew before I went to fashion school. Let me preface this by saying I am almost 35. I started college in 2005, okay? So I'm old, okay? I'm old in terms of like who's going to fashion school right now or who might be looking for these videos, but I learned a lot, and I learned at a time where the supports were not where they are right now, and I feel like I have some wisdom to impart. I went to Seneca College, not a university, but I think it's important, first off, that you know how to sew before you show up for your first class. And I would say know how to sew pretty well. Now, my program, yeah, we got taught how to put in zippers and sew straight lines and stuff, but knowing how to sew on a domestic machine at home is very different than learning how to sew on an industrial machine. And those simple tasks at the beginning of the classes are important so that you get comfortable using an industrial machine. I'm personally still terrified of them because so many people got injured needlessly because they weren't careful. So it's also a very expensive program. No matter where you go, whether you go to university or college, or one of those like private career colleges, the program itself is on the more expensive side because you have a lot of specialized labs and a lot of specialized equipment and things like that. But then also your material costs are so high. You are expected to be constantly buying fabrics and tools and materials and kits for each program or each class. Okay, next on my list is, I would say, prioritize self-care. Self-care wasn't really a thing in 2005. We didn't call it self-care for sure. And no one really, it was like the beginning of hustle, you know, like get out there, put in as much work as you possibly can. You can sleep when you're dead. No, 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 no. You need to rest now. Prioritize your self-care, and I don't mean like do a face mask, go for a bubble bath. What I mean is take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health. If there is something wrong, like you've been sick for a while, go see a doctor, okay? Rest. Do non-school things outside of your classes, because your life will revolve around this for a long time, and eventually you will just get sucked in and it will rule your life. And it's important that you come out the other side of college or university or whatever still sane, and I mean that quite literally still sane. I struggled so hard with anxiety. I called my mom crying at least 5 times a week because I had no idea what I was going through, like what to call it, any of those things, right? And you can see I still am emotional about it a very long time later, and I don't wish that feeling on anyone. This brings me perfectly to the sponsor of today's video, Bellesa. Bellesa is a by women, for women company for all things sexuality. Sex toys, porn, erotica, sex ed, all of it. Bellesa's mission is to empower women to embrace, explore, and celebrate their sexuality. And they want to give you vibrators and gift cards for vibrators. My friends at Bellesa and I are literally sending out free vibrators and gift cards to everyone who signs up for my giveaway. The link is in the description, or I'm putting it on the screen here. This thing is so cute. So obviously they had to send me some goodies, and this is the Pebble. It's super cute and pretty, like sex toys can be cute. Yes, actually they can. It fits in your hand really nice, and the suction and the vibration on this one are controlled independently. There is little, like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it because the light, there's like little indents on it to show you like what you're controlling basically, which I think is pretty cool. And there's no annoying pattern modes on this one, which I think is basically the worst idea that's ever been put into a sex toy, is those patterns, but you know, to each their own. Fits back in its cute little case, and it charges in here too. They also sent me, this is the Air Vibe. I'm trying to open it from the wrong side. Again, comes in a cute little case, and this one is a little bit different. So I'm just gonna set the case down because I don't want to drop it and break it. It kind of unfolds. It has suction. So this one has dual stimulation for G-spot and clit stim. It comes with a very cute case. And it's rechargeable, it's waterproof, it's pretty dang quiet. And yeah, I mean, it's really like quite flashy. Kind of reminds me of a superhero. Those are the toys I was sent, and definitely won't be the last time I'm shopping on their website. And again, thank you to Melissa for doing this giveaway, and don't forget to sign up. Everyone wins something, so you might as well sign up at the link in the description or the link on the screen here. And let's get back into the video. I think a saving grace for me was that I had space to work at home. I didn't live here when I was in college. I had to move away to Toronto. I lived in dorms for 2 years, and then because I really took my time with school, and I never graduated. I'm like 3 credits short, and if I go back now, I'd have to do the whole thing over and again, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I can learn these things online now. I don't need to go back for a university degree. That's another thing. You don't necessarily have to go to college to learn fashion design, and a diploma may only be the thing that gets you in the door for like a job interview, but if you want to work for yourself, you can in fact learn all of this online and figure it out as you go. But I'm not saying you shouldn't go to college, but you just don't have to if you don't want to. Anyway, back to working space at home. When I moved into the dorms, I brought a folding table that I actually almost never folded down, and I put my sewing machine on it. I think it's really important to have a space to work at home that doesn't require you to sit on the floor. I know a lot of people would lay out like their patterns on the floor, and they would get down on their hands and knees, and that's just not sustainable for anyone. So don't start off your career like that, because you will have many back problems. Don't accelerate them by working on the floor. Just being hunched over a sewing machine all the time will do that for you. Owning your own sewing machine is a good idea. You don't need an industrial one. You need something domestic and that will go through any type of fabric. I personally would recommend the Singer Heavy Duty. It's fairly inexpensive. It's less than $300 for the most basic one. You don't need it to do everything. And you basically just need it so you can have it at home to do homework in the middle of the night. I would recommend putting a piece of felt underneath of it so that you can sew in the middle of the night and not wake anybody else up in your house. You will be expected to work for free. And by this I mean you'll be expected to work for exposure. Now, I am quite jaded about this because I worked for free for a very long time with the promise of, oh, I'll shout you out on social media. I'll tell everyone about you. You'll make so much money. I literally moved home and still was driving to Toronto to deliver garments that I was making for someone who was on like network cable TV, like to deliver garments that I custom made for this person for free. I had to pay for all the materials, everything. And I got nothing out of it. Absolutely nothing. But working for free in a different capacity, yes, totally worth it. Volunteer. I volunteered for Fashion Week. I volunteered for, there was, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a clothing trade show kind of thing. It was just basically a weekend where businesses would set up booths and you could come and shop. So not exactly a trade show, and they had fashion shows, and I was a dresser. I literally have seen so many naked people, doesn't even faze me anymore. I've seen so many naked people from working backstage at fashion shows. I have dressed hundreds of models at this point, and nothing fazes me. But I also got to see how all those clothes were made, how things were run, the business side of things. I volunteered for that, and it was a weekend every 6 months or a week out of my time when it was Fashion Week. Now that's a little harder to do because like a lot of events are online, and also Fashion Week in Toronto doesn't really exist in the same capacity it used to. But find ways to volunteer for a couple of days and don't let people take advantage of you. I'm gonna give you this warning right now, because not everybody knew this when they showed up on the first day of school dressed in their very fabulous first day clothes. Sewing machines, industrial sewing machines, usually the presser foot, the little foot thing, lifts up by a lever that is attached that you use your knee to open. So you spend all day opening and closing your knee. Like that like gym thing where you're like squeezing it with your thighs, but you're doing the opposite. Okay, you're doing that with one knee all day. So a micro mini skirt is probably not the move, unless you like flashing everybody, because there's no like thing in front of the machines. Like, unless you're facing a wall, you are flashing your entire class. This actually happened to someone on the first day of my program. She showed up in a skirt that was barely as big as her butt cheeks. Remember, low-waisted things were a thing in 2005, and then a micro mini skirt on top of that. It was basically a postage stamp. All well and good until you realize that the wedge sandals you also wore, you can't wear, and you now have to put your bare foot on metal to make the machine go, and then have to like open and close your knee. Like, just think practically and really just dress as comfortably as possible. It is not a fashion show in class. Just show up and dress comfortably, because you're going to be sitting there for a long time. You're going to be walking up and down a lot of stairs. You're going to be hauling around a lot of crap that you don't want to. And I really just feel like comfort is the best move over fashion at that point, which is counterintuitive when you are a fashion design student, yes. Anyway, just find cute clothes to wear that are also comfortable and you can, you know, do things in. This one was really hard to learn, and I'm still learning it. Pack snacks. I'm terrible at packing a lunch. Bring a lunch with you. You will spend like all day there, okay? When I started, I went to an information session for my program, and they said you will have 19 to 20 hours of class a week, and you will have 19 to 20 hours of homework a week. But a lot of that homework cannot be done at home. It has to be done in the labs, or where there's specialized equipment, or where the fusing machine is, where you'll understand when you get to fashion school if you get there or whatever. But you need to be there a lot. I, in my last year, basically made friends with the janitors so I could stay past the time the school closed. And I would, like, Uber didn't exist then, so I would take a cab to the subway to then get on the subway to only get off a few stops later because the subway had stopped running, to then get on what they called the drunk bus, ride that down to my apartment, and then basically like jog back to my apartment from where the bus let me off, which was way further away than where the subway would have let me off, because I was terrified. It was 1 in the morning and I had to be back there for like 8 o'clock in the morning for class. So yeah, you basically just spend all the time there. In the same vein, get a locker if you can. If they exist for you, get a locker. Leave snacks in the locker. Leave as much of your stuff there as you can. Don't haul it home every night. It's not necessary. If you're not going to be doing homework at home, leave it all in your locker if you can. It's totally worth the money, and honestly, best decision ever. Also leave backups of stuff, so like extra rulers, 1.6 fabric, everything, extra thread. Leave it all in your locker, because people steal your stuff. People will take your ruler. Doesn't matter how much you've written all over it, people will take it. So leave extras so that you're not constantly buying more. Oh, I would also say leave band-aids and burn cream in your locker too, because while there are first aid kits usually in the classroom, not always refilled, but then also shit happens and you just need a band-aid or a little bit of burn cream because you accidentally touched the iron to your arm. So it will be nice to have those things, and you will need them, or maybe somebody else will. I live by the motto of be prepared. Can you tell I was once a Girl Guide? I would build sketching into your routine now. Make it a daily practice. If you journal or I don't even know, like do yoga every day, build sketching into your like routine of things. It will help you keep your creativity flowing so that it's more like a tap and less like we're searching for the only water in the desert kind of thing, you know? Because you will need that creativity all the time. You will be constantly like sketching and drawing and sketching and drawing, and the more comfortable you get with it now, the better off you will be. You can develop your style, you can improve it. I do not want you to relive the experience I had every day where I would cry because I hated sketching, because I was so bad at it. And you don't have to be good at it, but I just was not comfortable with it not being perfect, and it really caused a lot of anxiety. Your school has resources for you. If you have any accommodations, whether it be through ADHD or anything, okay, where you get extra time, you get to work in a quiet room for tests, take it. Take all of it. Do not let your teachers say, oh no, those aren't real. Take the accommodations, fight for it, because it will help you in the long run. You really need to get used to standing up for your work a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of critiques, like actual in class, we're looking at this person's work and we're picking through it. Don't be mean, okay? Don't be a jerk, but you need to critique someone's work from the basis of like what they're making. The same thing's gonna happen to you, okay? And you need to not take these things personally, and that's really hard coming from someone who takes everything personally. It really, really is important to know that they're critiquing the design, okay? And maybe like your fabric choices, your color choices, things like that. But they're not saying you're a bad person, and you have to get used to it. You also have to get used to standing up for yourself. I had a prof once who we had to make like a half of, usually you're making a half of a garment when you're testing it out. Anyway, it's just to save fabric, and you don't need to make the whole thing. I made a half of a dress. It had this really cute sailor collar. The inspiration behind it, it was a group project, and we each had to make something, but the group was like came together to make like a collection, right? And I made an Aztec inspired sailor collar dress with puff sleeves, and it was cute as fuck, okay? I have it somewhere, I think, in a suitcase hidden away. Let me know, should I make a video showing you all of the things I have left that I made from fashion school? Because I have a suitcase full of stuff that I haven't opened in years. And there's like a full-on linen wedding dress in there. So let me know if you want to see that. So she did not like me in general. Not sure why. Probably because I never handed in work and still was not failing the class. Don't know how. But anyways, I decided I needed these gigantic buttons. They weren't even that big. I think they were like this big, okay? But they were also teal on a bright yellow dress because that was sort of the colors that we had chosen for our Aztec inspired thing. She hated the size of those buttons, okay? We had to put little cardboard ones on and sew them on. She like ripped it off, took her little scissors and cut them to make it smaller, and then re-hand stitched it on in a span of like a minute before I even knew what was happening. And she's like, you will make it with buttons this size, except with a really thick French accent, because she used to work in like the for Dior, like in the couture house making stuff. So like she knew her shit, but she was terrifying, okay? I did not put the smaller buttons on because I was like, I like these buttons and they make sense with what I'm making, and you just wait and see. It's gonna be great. Sometimes like you have to take their criticism and say like, oh yeah, you know, that kind of makes sense. But not always, and you need to stand up for yourself. And finally, you'll find you'll get a lot of opportunities from school to go to fashion shows and meet designers in the industry who maybe come in for talks and to pick people's brains. Take those opportunities because you will never get them again. Once you're out of school, people are like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm not giving you a free ticket anywhere. Like, no. But while you have the time, take it. While they are arranging these things for you and these events for you, take it. Those opportunities don't come around very often, you know? When a designer comes in to give a talk to your class or to your program, take it. I have met so many amazing people that I still admire today, and you know, they have really shaped like how I want to run my business based on information they've given me. They've also told me that I never want to be on a reality show. Ever. Okay? And that's pretty good. Good to know. I definitely would have applied had I not met people who are on Project Runway. Project Runway Canada. Words, you know? But like, take advantage of those resources that are right under your nose and participate as much as you can without burning yourself out. Thank you again to Bellesa for sponsoring this video and hosting this giveaway. Remember, if you want to be entered into the giveaway and a guaranteed prize of either a vibrator or a gift card to get a vibrator, just go to the link in my description and you will find out pretty much immediately, as far as I understand, what you've won. Thanks again to Bellesa for sponsoring this video. Alright everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. That is some of the things I wish I knew before I went to fashion school. To be honest, I could probably go on for days about this, but I didn't want you to watch a 3-hour video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. If you think that I should do a video showing you all the things that I still have from fashion school, I can't try them on or anything because nothing was ever made in my size. Wasn't allowed. Let me know. And I will make that video because I think it'll be really, really fun. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!